everybody. I hope you are enjoying your lunch. We're going to go ahead and get started. My goal is to have this finished by 1. So I know you guys have busy schedules, so we're just going to go ahead and move right along. We are coming here today to support the Deaf-Blind Community Retirement Home. And so we just want to welcome you here. We're very excited to have you. This is a passion of mine, this project. It's very unique. And I would like to go ahead and explain a little bit more, but we're going to have different speakers come up and explain this project to us. So I just want to welcome everybody here. Before we really get moving, the most important thing is I'm going to thank our sponsors, and it's Burke Primary Care. We want to thank them for sponsoring this event and for providing this lunch for us. So without them, we don't know where we would be. So we just really want to thank Burke Primary Care. Sorry, hang on just a second. Okay. The first person we're going to have come up and share with us is our, she's going to share the facts about the project with us. The Lions Club, Senior Blind Community LLC, Sharon Whittington. She is the district manager for the Lions Club. Governor, she's the district governor.
Thank you so much for having me here, and thank each and every one of you for being here. My name is Sharon Whittington, and I represent Lions Clubs International. I'm the district governor for District 31B, which includes Morganton. We're very excited about this program. You know that Lions have always been known for helping the blind and helping the deaf. So this is just really exciting for us. When I first found out about it from Lion Doug Shaw, and he was talking about it, I said, wow, what an undertaking. And it is, and we're even more excited now than the day that we first heard about it. So I would ask that each of you just listen to all the speakers today and search your souls. But, you know, when deaf and blind people are looking for places to live, I am totally blind, so I can tell you from experience. When we're looking for places to live, we look for security, safety, and convenience. And this community is going to have all of those. You know, we're talking a block from the library and downtown. We're talking 2 blocks from shopping and services. And most people know that, especially in the blind community, transportation is our biggest challenge. So those are just more pluses to this. Sandy Turner is going to assist me with some of the facts. I think she's going to operate the slides. Thank you. Our NCDS will own and operate this community. That's, and you know what, I probably should be saying the North Carolina School for the Deaf will own and operate this community. And their mission is to enhance the education for their NCSD students that fall through the cracks in programs from federal and state funding. We all know that don't always take care of what it needs to take care of. Annually, any monies left over from the operation of this community will go back to the NCSD Foundation, and again, that will be to help provide services no business or person will profit from this community. This makes this the nation's very first community that is nonprofit and specifically for deaf and blind. So hey, we're making history right here in Morganton. Some of the equipment, includes braille, text typing, and hearing aid loops for communication, braille signage and adaptive household appliances, water sensors for plumbing, lighting sensors, and card swipes for security, and more. That's just a few of the things. These units will have 1 and 2 bedrooms. The 1 bedroom will be 730 square feet. The 2 bedroom will be 935 square feet. There'll be no meal service and no health care service on the property. You know, this is the first time I've ever done it. I do talks all over the state, but never with slide programs like this. It's going to be interesting. But we're going to do it. One of the most unique things about this community is the freestanding community center. You know, yeah, we've got to learn and we've got to be educated, but you know what? We like to play too and enjoy ourselves and socialize. So this community center is going to do just that. It's a place where we can have activities. It's a place where we can exercise and work out in a safe environment, barrier-free. Do y'all have any idea what those words really mean? If you were blind or deaf, you would really appreciate barrier-free. So this will be a hub for social events, just socializing, which is sometimes a challenge for us blind and deaf. This phase 1 of this project is going to cost $5.3 million. It's on the site of College Street where the old Morganton High School used to stand. Right now, the city owns that property, but an agreement has already been reached for that property to be purchased. CSC Construction of Morganton has already drawn up the master plans for the property and the buildings. Phase 1 is going to be in 3 separate phases, I guess. And A is going to be purchasing the land and starting the first residential building, which will be 21 units. This is rental property. B will include the second building, 21 more rental units. C will be the community building. So that will complete phase 1. Phase 2 will add an additional residential building, which will include another 21 units for rent. This will bring us to a total of 63 units for rent and a community center. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited. Financing. We will be financing 50% of this project at a low interest, long-term rate through a local lending institution. And the other 50%, we're going to be counting on charitable donations. This is why you are here. We would ask that you really, really dig deep in your soul and just consider whatever you can do to help us make sure that this comes true for the senior deaf-blind community. And you know, this is not only for us, and I say us because you know, someday I'm gonna be a senior. And I might admit it. No, actually, I'm there. But, you know, it would be nice to know that there's a place like this that we can go and live very freely, very comfortably, safe, secure, everything that we need. And I just want to thank you in advance so much for everything that you're going to do to help make sure that this comes through. Because, you know, this community is going to be another strand in the fabric of the community here. And with your contribution, you can help make this strand be woven into a beautiful piece of fabric. Thank you so very much for being here today, and thank you again in advance for what you're going to do to help this happen.
Okay, thank you for your patience while we're working through that. Maybe you guys could, you get hearing aids like me, right? You want to borrow mine? Maybe help you hear better? Yeah, okay, we got a couple takers. All right. All right, thank you so much, Sharon, for that wonderful explanation. I really agree for having that safe place for us, in the future, because I think about it, when I get older, where am I going to go that I'm going to be able to have that sort of access to communication, and having this established is going to be great for us. And also, for Morganton, the city of Morganton, the city managers, the city manager, Sally, I'd like to welcome her here. So Sally, if you will. Sally, Sandy.
Good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to get to be here and to be a part of this. And today I have good news and I have bad news. And the news is that the mayor was going to do this, but he is out of town, so you got me instead. And I'll let you decide if that's good or bad. It is a pleasure to be here and to get to talk about this project. We just got to hear some of the details of the project and how exciting it is. I think for the city and for the community, it is exciting because it continues our long-time tradition of relationships and partnerships with the deaf and blind communities. And that is something that is pretty important in Morganton and Burke County. It's part of who we are. It's part of why we all love this place. And it's a great opportunity for us to get to share that with other people and to invite them into this community, to bring them into this safe environment, into this environment where there are no barriers, into the environment where they can enjoy life and they can become a part of this community and enjoy all that we get to enjoy by being citizens here. And I think the city has been involved for a really long time with the development of this process, with this project. We have been at the table supporting the project. Again, it's another piece of what can happen in this community that makes the community better and gives all of us enrichment for our lives. And so I'm very excited that you are getting to hear the details and getting an opportunity to get excited about the project as well.
All right, thank you, Sally, for that. I've been thinking, sort of about myself. I've born and raised here. I've lived in Philadelphia, Washington. I moved here and noticed that the pace of life is a little different than up north. You know, it's very congested, traffic, very rush pace. This is a great pace of life for us here. Next, we're going to have, well, actually, before I go ahead with that, I want to say thank you for two key individuals who've been working on this project from the beginning. We have Sam Avery and Sandy Turner. Without them, I don't know where we would be with this project. So, if we're looking at why we would have a senior center for the deaf and blind, we're going to have Sandy come up and talk with us about that. She has been a long-time member of the deaf community working at TSD as a teacher and a coach, and really has a heart for this. So Sandy, come up and share with us.
Thank you. I've been involved in the senior deaf and blind community since the very beginning, when the NCSD Foundation began to explore the possibilities. And folks, that was back before my hair turned gray. My role was as president of the NCSD Foundation until my term ended in April. This project was born through the desire of our deaf seniors in North Carolina wanting to have a place of their own, a place to live comfortably, communicate freely, and in a community that has known deaf culture and practices it. I've been involved with that deaf culture here for over 40 years. I have witnessed my deaf friends raising their children and doing so in a hearing world. I have also witnessed the deaf gatherings at the NCSD homecomings. From the birth of this idea, the deaf seniors have had input expressing their desire for a retirement community and in identifying the features that it would have. Surveys and focus groups were conducted throughout the state that fed information into the design of this community. Excuse me. After giving presentations to various groups across the state, I believe and am truly convinced that these seniors deserve to spend their later years among their peers. The foundation hired the National Technical Institute for the Deaf in New York to do a market analysis of our 4 states. That study shows that over 200,000, or 10% of the population in North Carolina, to be deaf or hard of hearing. Among that population, there are over 14,000 people, 55 years or older, statewide, who are culturally deaf. That means that they use American Sign Language as their primary language. Almost 4,800 of these people live in western North Carolina. As planning for this community has progressed, interest and enthusiasm for this community has grown. Without any marketing, advertising, or solicitation, we have been contacted by 17 prospective residents who are ready to move into this community right away. About 80% of the first residential building. This has shown us that the demand is here. Morganton is a retirement community, and that has already been woven into our city and county through publications. This community brings the new strand of retirees. This is the only such retirement community for the deaf and blind in North Carolina or any of its bordering states. Nationwide, there are presently about a dozen of these communities for the deaf and blind, but none of them are nonprofit organizations with a mission and purpose to further enhance the education of deaf children. Ours will be the first community that is so closely related in its mission and purpose to a residential school for the deaf. The benefits to deaf students are fantastic. The community will provide on-site learning and education for students who will volunteer with deaf, blind, and deaf-blind seniors, providing needed services and receiving mentorship from the residents. Western Piedmont Community College will also continue to provide interpreting program students, as you've seen here today, who will volunteer at the community and with the students of NCSD. This community will address a huge issue for many deaf, blind, and deafblind seniors who now live alone in hearing retirement facilities. These seniors have no one with which to communicate and at times have feelings of total isolation. The social health of these individuals can be improved at this senior deaf and blind community. The opportunity to provide valuable volunteer hours at the North Carolina School for the Deaf is priceless. Many of the students that attend school here have more than deafness or deaf-blind issues. The chance to have role models from our community to socialize and stimulate their imaginations and provide possible recreational activities are just limitless. On a more formal level of education of deaf students, this community offers the opportunity to integrate the North Carolina occupational course of study outlined by the State Department of Public Instruction and to do community volunteering. Community job placement will also be possible. The chance to incorporate the STEAM Academy with our community is exciting both to our students and to our seniors. Who better to teach computer skills to our seniors than our young people? Who better to teach proper etiquette to our young people than our seniors? Who better to help our students look at job opportunities and mentor future skills than our seniors? Who better to guide a deaf-blind individual to town for shopping than our young people? Who better to provide social skills for the prom or a school dance than our seniors? And who better to visit and have an afternoon talk than our young people? I have seen our youngest students' eyes dance from a story being read by Georgianne Crowe. I have seen our students really get the true meaning of literature from the ASL rendition from Barbara Palmento. And I have seen the light bulb come on when a young math student understands the counting process from Garrett Walker. These opportunities cannot be bought. They're given from the heart. This can be the future. This is the future. What a vision. In this location, we could have our seniors taking the young students to the public library and open a whole new world of imagination and exploration to them. We could have our students coming in to do meal prep for our seniors as part of the culinary program within the school curriculum. We could have our seniors going into NCSD to tutor the students for their driving exam. We could have our seniors going to NCSD to revive the recreation program, even have intergenerational games. The possibilities just keep growing. And every time I think about what could be, I get excited and the smile just will not go away. Help us weave this new strand into the fabric of Morganton. Help us make this dream a reality. Help us bring this senior deaf, deafblind, and blind population out of isolation and into a place that has hands flying, people helping people, people having fun, and laughing from the time they get up to the time they go to bed. Help us by donating today, tomorrow, or whenever you can. Help our community build this community for our former students and future students. Over 100 years has brought many individuals across our grounds. We would like to see many of them come back and call Morganton home again.
Wow. I mean, I'm just thinking about myself, my own experiences at a residential deaf school, and then going home on the weekends and having a hearing family. To actually have deaf adults, in your community that you can share with that are speaking in your native language. I mean, we're very grateful for them. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. So Sandy's exactly right. That's who we look to. We look to our seniors, that they're our role models. So thank you, Sandy, for sharing that with us. Next, we're going to have, I had heard her share last month, and it was very powerful. This is just a life-changing story, and so I just want you to listen to this message. It's very powerful. Please welcome Dr. Mary Sedgwick.
Thank you for having me here this afternoon to share with you. Imagine being on the brink of your career, an aspiring obstetrician and gynecologist, and suddenly you start having vision problems. Blurred vision, double vision, areas of your visual field blocked out, and loss of depth perception due to optic neuritis secondary to multiple sclerosis. That is what happened to me. My world was turned upside down. I had to make the difficult decision to stop practicing medicine for the safety of my patients. I had to walk away from a career of delivering babies and performing surgeries. I had hands that were meant to operate. I went from working 100 hours a week to 0. I had lost my identity, my self-worth. I no longer knew who I was as a person. As time went on, my vision continued to worsen. And 2 years later, on March 4th, 2004, I woke up in complete darkness. I remember that morning clearly. I woke up and thought my eyelids hadn't opened. I tried to open them over and over again, only to realize they were open, and I was no longer seeing. I instantly froze and felt paralyzed, as I didn't know what to do. In that moment, I couldn't remember the layout of my house, or where the numbers were on the telephone. How was I to get help? How was I to function on a day-to-day basis if I couldn't even get out of bed? As I was sitting there in bed, I realized that I was no longer going to be able to read printed material, that I was no longer going to be able to see the sunrise or the sunset, and I was no longer going to be able to see the images of my loved ones. I thought my world had ended. But from within, I found the strength and courage to face the darkness and bring in the light. I took those steps off the bed and sought help from family and friends and from resources within the community. I went to the Adult Rehab Center for the Blind in Raleigh, learning Braille, computer-assisted technology, and better ways of doing activities of daily living. I reached greater levels of independence when I obtained my first guide dog, Wrangler, who was with me for 4 years until he passed away from cancer. At that time, I obtained Lucy, my current guide dog, who's been with me for 4.5 years. In addition, I started doing motivational speaking all across the country. With my guide dog by my side, I ventured to the airports, traveling all across the United States, granting me a freedom I never thought I would have achieved. As Helen Keller said, when one door closes, another door opens. My life changed drastically, and I have adapted in many ways, and have come to view the world in a whole new light. I've come to see myself as a whole new person, and I've gained a greater sense of my purpose in life. But we are here today for the Senior Community Center for the Deaf and Blind. I am more than a decade away from being a potential resident of this facility, but I see its purpose and its need. This project is the first of its kind in the nation and will provide the opportunity of interaction between the deaf and the blind in a common living space. I would want to live in a facility like this because I see its need. This facility will enable the residents to continue to be want to live in a center like this one because I need a community that is safe and secure. I would need to depend on other people to maintain things and fix things like the plumbing. It would also have a pet area and a nature trail for me to walk my guide dog, which would be an essential feature for me. The environment of like people will serve as a confidence builder to feel more secure to go out into the environment and interact. It would also enable more opportunities to explore activities in the environment due to its location on the bus lines and closeness to the malls and theaters. This is a unique opportunity for the deaf and blind to interact with each other. On behalf of myself and the deaf blind community, we appreciate you being here today and your willingness to consider this facility becoming part of your community and the amazing possibilities it would bring. So we ask that you open your hearts and your souls to donate to this wonderful project. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I should have loaned you those hearing aids when I offered them to you at first. Okay, that was very powerful. We want to thank you for that, Mary. Okay, so we have amazing possibilities here, and there's nobody more excited about this. For the senior deaf and blind community, we've had a lot of involvement with the North Carolina School for the Deaf Foundation chair, Barbara Palomento. We'd like to have her share with us. Thank I'm Barbara Palomento, and I am the president of the North Carolina School for the Deaf Foundation, and I've taught at NCSD for 34 years, and I've retired, and I sometimes sub still at the school. It's still, they're my kids, I love them still. I'm also involved with different activities and organizations for the deaf here in Morganton and at a state level. I'm a member of the North Carolina Association of the Deaf. I was a member of the North Carolina Council of Deaf and Hard of Hearing. That's appointed by the governor. So, why do we need a community like this? A senior deaf and blind community? Well, there are many deaf living alone and isolated all throughout the state, in all of North Carolina, and really all over the United States. There are many deaf that are facing a lot of loneliness. There's nobody to talk to. And often they don't have access to communication, not full communication. That communication that they would be getting is just very basic human needs. And having full access to communication is something that, it's an enrichment. It's going to be an environment for our deaf seniors that they'll be enriched in. It's a physical environment that will be enriching to them, social environment. Deaf seniors will be able to grow and thrive, especially meeting their needs. I went to school in Connecticut. went to their American School for the Deaf, and 2 of my classmates are already ready to move here from Connecticut. You know, be close to me, have that community, but that's great. Potential impact for this community, for Morganton, and for Burke County. This can become such a magnet for all over the U.S. We're just pulling in lots of deaf retirees, pulling their interest to come here. Deaf seniors, they're ready. They're ready to move here from North Carolina and from all over the U.S. Deaf and blind will have an increased service of let's be a friendly environment with an increased population. They're going to be such an asset to help this community. Like several of us have already mentioned, who volunteer, we'll have volunteers from NCSD coming in, maybe deaf grandparents, who can sign with the children there, doing that sort of a program. That would be neat. I mean, just what an opportunity. Reading books to children, putting it into ASL in their language. And again, I know, just, the children's fascination, when they're watching adults tell stories, they love it. So I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship with NCSD. And deaf seniors becoming that role model for our young children and young adults as well. Sharing skills, a variety of community activities, workshops. Now the community center itself, that would be a service that would be invaluable as a resource for the deaf individuals who don't live there. They would provide informational workshops. I mean, that's going to be important for all deaf people to know, to keep up with what's new and going on in the world. Art and crafts, providing small conferences, events that would be interesting and wanted or needed in the community. Maybe we could have, tournaments, card tournaments, bridge tournaments, bringing in deaf organizations, deaf chapters of clubs could come in and use our facilities, the fellowship hall of the community center. So this can benefit Morganton and Burke County as well. We're going to be having a greater need, a greater demand. Also, our Western Piedmont Community College would grow their programs, having interpreter programs there. You'd have a higher attendance at the comma, people wanting to come in for dramas, deaf individuals love dramas and musicals and things that they would have. Be a greater use of the library, our public library, which would just be right around the corner. That's great. Also, we would have more attendance to churches. There's a lot of churches here in Morganton and Burke County, and many of them have interpreters that are provided. There'll be opportunities for skill development for our young people at the school, like being able to increase education for the deaf and the hearing students as well. And you think, well, how would that work? Well, we're giving them opportunities to develop their skills so that they'll be ready for jobs, career ready, home service, landscaping, learning different skills related with that, exercise, event management, marketing, technology. And now we have the SPICE, SPICE, I'll sign it like that, like you're mixing a together and you're cooking it up. So it used to be, no, Frank Turner was the director for the deaf and hard of hearing services in Raleigh, I would say in the 80s. And he often used SPICE, S-P-I-C-E, and he used it as an acronym for social, physical, intelligence, communication, emotion. And really this is kind of his explanation, but this is what deaf people need. And from birth to death, your whole life, this is what you need. So, SPICE. Imagine, if you will, let's say you're eating something, it's just very plain. Maybe you baked a chicken, and it's just plain. Maybe some vegetables or something, but they're all just very plain. Maybe you got some noodles in there too. I mean, you could eat it. You could. But are you going to enjoy it? It would be okay, you know. But now, with the deaf seniors all over being so isolated, that's their life. Because they're still living, they're still with us. And physically, they're fine. But socially, emotionally, it's very hard. It's a great hardship for them. The major reason is communication. It's so limited. You know, from their families. Maybe their families can't sign for a variance of reasons. Really, there's no communication stimulation at all for them. This future senior for the deaf and blind community is SPICE. It's spicing things up. It's going to make it delicious. And it's going to make their life and their quality of life during their golden years so much better. Thank you. Wow, that's so true to think how our lives can be enriched. I was on a committee called Deaf Seniors of America, and we would really like, we're going to have a big conference going on next year in Asheville, and we're going to have 1,000 plus in attendance to that event. And I'm thinking that's a great time. That's a great time for us, you know, to promote what we're doing here. That, hey, we can have a place for you guys. Move to Morganton. Do you agree? Yeah? Sorry, I can't see without my glasses. Okay, next we're going to have a what could have been moment shared with us. And just a very touching, just gives me chills. So I'm going to let Becky come up. She's going to tell a little bit about herself and her involvement. She's been involved with NCSD and LR. She is a CODA, C-O-D-A, which is a child of deaf adults, deaf parents. So, Becky, do you mind coming up and sharing with us?
Good afternoon. My name is Becky Brinkley, and I am the daughter of deaf parents. And being in a home with deaf parents, sign language was my first language, obviously. What a wonderful place this retirement home would have been for them to look forward to in their senior years for my parents. But they now have passed on. Unfortunately, my father was placed into a nursing facility due to a stroke and Alzheimer. The nursing home had never had a deaf patient, which in itself was a challenge for the family, especially my mother. That left my mother living in her home alone for the last 15 years of her life. she would have greatly benefited from this senior home. So where she could benefit in living in a senior home with her friends, having a place where she could enjoy her peers by sharing the same culture and the same mode of communication, ASL. For many years we have had and we still have a wonderful deaf community here in Morganton and Burke County. How different life would have been for my parents if we had lived in a rural community, having no one to visit or no one to communicate in their language. Due to the deaf population in this area, my parents had the social life to enjoy their deaf friends. For example, many activities on the campus of NCSD. Homecoming, which is and still is the event of the year. Suppers at this Boy Scout cabin at the NCSD campus. The shops downtown were very accustomed to having deaf customers, which made them feel very comfortable shopping in these stores. And even some of the shopkeepers would learn a little bit of sign language. My parents had a monthly card game, canasta and bridge, at my home, monthly. And if you think deaf people are quiet, I can assure you, being in my bedroom, listening to them having a wonderful time in the living room playing bridge or canasta, and sometimes rook. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could send out an invitation to those who are deaf and or blind, who live in the rural areas, to come and live in a deaf-blind retirement home here in Morganton. We do not want to know the stories of what I'm getting ready to share with you. Dear sir, my name is Dennis Whitley. I am male. I am 80 years old. Now I live at Meadowview Assisted Living Center in Smithfield, North Carolina. I lived there for 4 years. I am not happy to live there because I am the only deaf person there. I want to move to senior housing for the deaf and hard of hearing in Morganton, North Carolina. I want to be in fellowship with deaf people. Michael Reese, my trust fund lawyer, paid me for board and food. Please tell Michael to let me move to Morganton. And this is my address, Michael Reese, Smithfield, North Carolina. Please let me hear from you and have a nice day, Dennis. Unfortunately, this gentleman passed away without realizing his dream to come to Morganton and live in a beautiful city with his deaf friends. Thank you. Oops.
Becky, I really agree with what you said. Are you saying deaf or quiet? Huh. I have 3 children, and who were banging things to get attention. It's a different world. Okay, next we're going to have how each of you, how all of us can help. And I learned something last month hearing this person share. They are a well-known businessman at a car dealership here in Morganton. We're going to have John Green come up and share with us.
Good afternoon. Your agenda says Jane and John Green. Everyone who's married now or has been knows that sometimes couples get invitations to events that happen at the same time at different places. That happened to us, so I'm here, Jane is there. I apologize for her absence. I want to talk to you a little bit this afternoon about what you can do to help. I'm going to try to best as I can, but this gentleman right here, sitting here with a Duke shirt on, right in front, as an alumni of the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, it's very distracting. I've got some help, though. I got Jerry McBrayer and Doug Horde, and this lady raised her hand, Sam Avery, so anyway, I'll do the best I can. For the past 45 minutes, everyone here has heard details about the construction of the retirement community, caught a vision of what it could mean for our community, and for people who live here that you've touched by stories and related how such a place impacts people's lives. It's been a great presentation, and I think our speakers and interpreters deserve a rousing round of applause. Another group that deserves recognition is our presenting sponsor for this event, Burke Primary Care, an outstanding independent health provider that's long served the deaf and blind community as a presenting sponsor. They are responsible for the following fact: every dollar that is pledged today will go to the senior deaf-blind community because Burke Primary Care is covering 100% of the costs of this event. Everyone here today was invited to this fundraising event, and during our presentation, I imagine that many of you have been asking, how can I help? The fact is that many of you have helped in many ways, both large and small. Before I go further, let me thank you for that and for taking time to be here today. Thank you for caring about the deaf-blind population in Burke County and around the state, and thank you for your devotion to NCSD and its proud heritage that has added so richly to our community. Probably wondering why I'm up here doing this, but Sandy Turner was, until Jane and I moved to Grace Ridge a year ago, Sandy Turner was our neighbor. So at any rate, being a native Morgantonian, I'm certainly well familiar with NCSD, and we have another story that Jane and I do that really attaches us to the deaf-blind community, probably in a way that not many of you would know. About 40 years ago, we were on a list of families for the Burke County Department of Social Services that if a baby to be given up for adoption was born, and let me assure you this was Jane's idea, we already had two of our own, that we would be a foster for that. So I came home one day from work, and she said, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And she said, the Department of Social Services called, and they have a child that they want us to foster. And I was thinking she was going to say it was a 2-day-old infant. She said, it's a 9-year-old deaf-blind boy. I said, you got to be kidding. So at any rate, long story short, we ended up, obviously, Jane rules the roost, and she outvoted me, and she got the kids on her side. And they were both teenagers, and so we took Gene Hubbard, who had been at Perkins Institute in Boston, Massachusetts. He had been deaf and blind since infancy, or toddler age anyway. He lost his vision to cancer and his hearing to meningitis. So a caseworker came with Gene to bring him to our house in Morganton from Perkins in Watertown, Massachusetts, just outside Boston. And she stayed about 3 days, and during that time she was there, Jane said, what are we supposed to, he was going to be for the whole summer while school was out. What do you want us to try to do? And she said, we want you to try to deinstitutionalize him. Because he'd been in an institution, although Perkins is probably one of the finest of its kind in the world. They trained Helen Keller. Still, it was an institutional environment. So we worked at that, and he did everything with us. We took him to the beach, we took him to Grandfather Mountain, he played with the neighbor kids, and he was an amazing little boy. But in the ongoing effort to deinstitutionalize institutionalize him, he was trained at Perkins to lay when he undressed to go to bed or go in his bedroom, he lined his shoes up just so under the bed and put all of his clothes away very neatly. And our son had a habit of going to the doorway of their bedroom. They were in that same bedroom in a bunk bed, and Johnny went upstairs while Gene was there so he could be on the lower bunk. Johnny would just leave his shoes in the middle of the floor. And Gene would go in there and he'd trip over Johnny's shoes. And you could see his somewhat irritation from time to time when that happened. So they came in, he loved to go to the swimming pool, and we came in one day on a hot day, and Jane told him, says, we'll go to the swimming pool. And he went flying down the hall, jerked his shoes off in the hallway, and threw them through the bedroom door on the middle of the floor. And Jane said, yes, we finally got him institutionalized. So at any rate, we had him in the summertime for 3 or 4 years, and it was a very interesting and enjoyable and meaningful time of our lives. We're coming near the end of our luncheon, and you might be in a reflective mood about all the things you've heard today. And I strongly suspect that you feel personally convinced that the senior deaf-blind community is fully deserving of your support. I hope this presentation has planted or reinforced in each of you a reason why you think it's important and worthy of your support. Please know that every gift is equally important in this $5.3 million project. Your decision to support the fundraising portion of that sum will take us closer to key targets and will allow us to fully develop this project over the next few years. Our immediate goal is to reach our initial $1 million fundraising goal this fall so that construction might begin in December. I'm happy to report that almost, excuse me, almost $400,000 has been committed already. What can we do today to add to that total? It sounds like a lot, but I really believe that this group in this room could raise over $25,000 today. We've done some of these things before, and we've been successful in having nice sums raised, and I don't see why this one should be any different than any of the others. Jane and I have already financially committed to this project, and our son Johnny is on the retirement facility board of directors. And we want to encourage everyone here to find the gift level that works for you. It would be incredible if everyone gave something and we met the challenge. Let's talk about how you all can help and speed us along our way. So I want to ask the table captains if they would take the envelopes out of and pass them out to your guests. Now, if you take a look at the response sheet that's in your envelope, it's folded up, and follow along as we look at it together. The first important point is that every donor to the senior deaf and blind community who gives us permission will be recognized on a donor tableau that will be located in the community center. Now let's look at some of the specific pledge amounts that offer the recognition opportunities if the donor desires to exercise that opportunity. We'll begin with the name or room level. This is a $10,000 pledge that could be paid $2,000 a year for 5 years. And on the bottom of this sheet is a list of rooms in the community center that can be named. A plaque recognizing the donor will be affixed to the entrance of the room. Obviously, these gifts allow for the creation of those important spaces, each of which has a vital function. If you're not ready to commit today to that level, then the next level is a quicker room level. For a pledge to give $1,000 a year for 5 years, totaling $5,000, you will be able to provide equipment and furnishings for the library and computer area of the community center. And this will be a key communications hub in the life of the senior deaf-blind community. The next level is the provide a bench level. For a pledge to give $500 a year for 5 years, or a total gift of $2,500, you will provide for the benches that will be placed in the interior and around the exterior of the facility. If you choose this level, thank you in advance for providing a rest stop or a meeting place for our residents. Another important gift level is called Table a Diner. For a pledge of $500, you will allow for adequate tables and chairs in the dining hall of the community center. This large room will be at the site of all large gatherings in the community. This gift is payable over 5 years on any schedule that you desire. As said earlier, all these levels are promoted for folks who'd like to provide a specific item or space in the community center, and if they choose, be so recognized for doing it. We started our discussion with these cut and dry levels. However, we know and respect that you may prefer to give it a different level, so we'll provide the next section on the sheet just for you. It's known as the design gift level. And here, you can name any amount, any gift amount that you desire, and pay it at one time or over a number of years. And we would like to encourage multiple year gifts. But at any rate, whatever works for you, we thank you. If you look on, there's a space for you if you would like to discuss making your gift by way of credit card or online or by bank draft. Or maybe you have stock or securities that you'd like to give. Just check the box and we'll contact you. We truly appreciate whatever level of support you can provide. Please do consider making a multi-year commitment to help make the senior deaf-blind community a reality. The foundation will administer your gift and remind you when your payments are due. Feel welcome to make the first payment on your pledge today, or to make your entire gift today if you wish. Please finish out the response sheet by clearly printing your name, address, phone number, and email. While you continue to look at your response sheet, let me emphasize that a multi-year pledge is not a contract. It's merely your statement of your best intentions. We appreciate it if you'd add your signature on this line. As you finish filling out your sheet, I would like to wrap it up, and I want you to know that no matter what you decide to give, whether you name a room or give a one-time donation, please know that Jane and I, and all the foundation and community boards, thank you so much for your interest and support. And thank you again for being here today. Feel welcome to place your completed response sheet in the envelope and return it sealed to your table captain. If you need to take it home to think or talk about it, that's okay. If you do that,